So you want me to pull this off virtually? A comparison of participant outcomes in face-to-face versus virtual formats. Dr. Shiera Jennings, Dr. Jeffrey Guidry, Rhea Bott, Lauren McDonald, and David Brown. HYPE 3.0 is a teen pregnancy prevention program in Houston, Texas, delivered by Change Happens, a community-based organization. Change Happens used Love Notes SRA EBP as the program curriculum for students. Our target population were Hispanic Latino youth and African American youth in Harris County aged 14 to 19 years old. We used a mixed methods approach for this program evaluation. The quantitative portion consisted of a pre-post design using self-report surveys by students, and the qualitative portion consisted of focus groups, fidelity, and observation logs. Year 1 of the project was during the 2019 to 2020 school year. In fall 2019, we began by delivering the program on campus face-to-face with the students. In March 2020, however, program delivery was abruptly suspended due to shutdowns imposed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Change Happens leveraged resources, trainings, and human capital with the goal of delivering HYPE 3.0 in a virtual format that was safe, accessible, and effective. Through partnerships with schools, the program was delivered virtually using Microsoft Teams or Zoom. We, along with our partners, wondered if this pivot from face-to-face to virtual would really work. Therefore, using data gathered from input from focus groups, participation satisfaction surveys, pre- and post-test surveys, as well as observation and fidelity logs, we sought to examine whether the virtual delivery format of HYPE 3.0 was as effective as the face-to-face delivery modality. This program was able to reach 1,253 participants. Of those participants, 59.5% received the program in a face-to-face format, and 40.5% received the program virtually. Select demographics are presented on this slide. Although program delivery time was decreased to 30 minutes in the virtual format, at post-test, virtual participants demonstrated higher knowledge scores than the face-to-face participants who attended 45-minute sessions. It is important to note, however, that virtual participants began and completed the HYPE 3.0 program with higher knowledge scores than the face-to-face participants. In addition, participant satisfaction surveys were administered after transition to virtual format. Student responses showed above average or excellent ratings in all categories. Now, we want to highlight our lessons learned given the challenges we faced. Some of these challenges were that many participants would not turn on their cameras, they would mute their microphones, or there would be technology issues which prevented or disrupted program delivery. Another challenge is that virtual learning had caused fatigue and decreased motivation in potential program participants, which resulted in low enrollment and retention. Additionally, due to the pandemic, the schools and community sites experienced major decreases in student attendance beginning in March 2020 and into the following school year. This resulted in lower enrollments in our intervention. In trying to address these challenges, one of the biggest lessons learned was to reimagine the way we thought about and executed engagement. For example, we learned that engagement did not have to require participants turning on their cameras or their microphones. However, they tended to do so in order to participate in interactive games. They were also very active in the chat boxes. Examples of virtual game formats we used include Prezi, Kahoot, Wheel of Names, word cloud, and quizzes. The activities adapted for these games were virtual adaptations of Love Notes curriculum. We also recognize opportunities for logistical improvement. Health educators needed a partner or tech support to manage technology issues so that instruction time wouldn't be compromised. Also, smaller groups were better. Having 10 to 15 youth was ideal for management. Lastly, prior to the shutdown, we used paper to collect data, but we were forced to use SurveyMonkey, which greatly improved the data collection process. Thank you for your interest in this topic, and we hope you were able to learn from our experiences.